right, so here's my fun Jim Phillips story. Johnny's like, yes, I love that. Top of the morning to you, Zach. Right. Hi, I'm Carlos, your favorite monster. So here I am, the young whippersnapper, Carlos A. Navarro, and I tell the world I'm going to go on a trip to Europe. I didn't know shit about shit, to be dead ass honest. But my cousin Alex did it, and he said it was cool. Said he had the time of his life. So I was young. I had some time to do it, and I never in my life ever had 3 weeks ever again to go to Europe. That's how crazy things can happen. What's up, Ryan? How you doing, man? Yeah, this story is about Jim Phillips. Go ahead and put a banner up there, Jim Phillips story. So it's not like I knew Jim that well. And quite frankly, I didn't grow up listening to Jim Phillips. So I didn't have this like super like regard to him. I always thought he was cool because I just knew him from The Office. I was an intern for another show. and so I would see him as we were passing by. But like I said, it was one of those things, I guess youth kind of helped me, that I was very comfortable with him, but he was always cool with me. He never, I think that one time he said something that I said something funny. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then before we even had this, I'll never forget this one time. I was in the studio with a guy named Defoe, and he was fired. He was one of the funniest guys ever, but he got into some trouble. And so I remember sitting there as an intern. I'm 18 years old. I'll never forget. I'll never forget this. And to this day, I still say it this way because of him. And so he walks in. And so we're in a break, and I'm sitting there talking with Defoe, and I'm maybe 18 years old. And Jim Phillips kicks open the door, and he goes, "You gotta stop doing that." And I'm not to me, to Defoe. And I'm like, what the? He goes, "It's okay. Listen, it's not incomparable. It's incomparable." I was like, damn, he's right. From that day on, I only say incomparable. And I think that wasn't the story I was gonna tell. But that definitely was something that he was always the same dude. Okay, what does that mean? There's a lot of fake ass people out there, man. Fake ass people that want to portray an image. They want to portray who they are, what they've done, whatever. And they're fake as a $3 bill. Jim Phillips is not that dude. A lot of good people in radio. A lot of really, really good people in radio. I think radio gets a bad rap. I've worked in every industry. Radio is not the only thing I've ever done. For some people, that's it. And everything else they've kind of fabricated. And Jim was that dude. Jim could have been that dude that was a dick. He could have been that dude all day long. And he wasn't. He was just and one time I said something funny. I was like, oh, that's cool. Jim says it's something funny, And then when I was going to leave on this Europe trip, and I honestly, to this day, I'm not a great prepper for trips. Okay. I'm not that guy. Okay. I am, I'm a fun guy to go on a trip with, but I'm go with the flow. Go with the flow. So much so, for you to know, that when I plan my trip to the Euro, I decided to forego any travel log or plan therefore. I just said I'm just going to fly into Ireland, and I'm flying out of Ireland 3 weeks later. That's it. That's it. And I had a credit card that had $1,000 on it. That's it. I look back and think, what a crazy son of a bitch you must have been to go on that trip with no money. I had a broken camera, but I'd never been. My cousin was like, you got to go to Europe and just backpack, bro. You got to go, bro. So I said, fuck it, I'll go. So Jim heard of this, and he sent me a message. I don't know if it was an email or whatever, but he's like, Carlos, let's have some lunch. I want to talk about your trip. I'm like, now by this time we had like meetings and stuff. This is like, I don't know, 2 or 3 years in from knowing him or something. So we had talked, it wasn't like straight up out of the blue, but it wasn't like we had become buddies or anything like that. So why did he want to meet me? Well, he told me that he had always wanted to do this, a backpacking trip through Europe. And, I want to change a little bit of music here. I think we can get a bit of better music here. But I don't have Europe music. Do we have Europe music, Sammy boy? I don't think so. So we went and had lunch at my dad's restaurant at the time. And it was one of the coolest lunches I ever had because I don't think I ever talked to anybody about this. It was just him and I, and we probably had a 2-hour lunch. He ate a bunch of different Peruvian food that he'd never had before because it was a Peruvian restaurant. And he had antichuchos, which is cow heart. So it was kind of cool because I was able to like introduce him to some stuff, that I grew up with, really. I grew up with a bunch of Peruvian food and stuff. And so he got a real kick out of that. That was cool. My dad got a kick out of talking to him and everything. And we just talked about Europe and his way and what he would do and some ideas and just life and why he didn't go and how I should absolutely be doing it, And so I really listened to him, and I was just like, and then he gave me a backpack, and I used that backpack. He gave me a backpack and a book, and I used that the whole trip. That was the backpack I used. And I needed it every second because I literally brought like 3 pairs of, I think I brought 2 pairs of pants, 3 shirts, a jacket. I grew out my beard. I was very bohemian. And I did it. And the second I got back, I changed my entire life. And the rest is history.